Well, most people are familiar with Bruce Kulick from his 12 years in Kiss, the musical version of Kiss. But did you know he also played guitar with Meatloaf, Billy Squier, currently at the helm of Grand Funk Railroad, in addition to his solo projects. We're going to talk about some of that and more with Bruce Kulick. Bruce, welcome to Psychobabble.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Good to have you here. Now, of course, everybody's familiar with the Kiss thing. I saw you in Grand Funk a couple of times.
Sure.
That's got to be a lot of fun.
We hadn't had a gig in about a month, and we performed last night in Miami. And while I was up there, I was like, I really missed, the band's great. I mean, to have Don on drums, the original Don Brewer, and he sang and wrote, We're an American Band, classic. And then Mel is like, he's considered the god of thunder too. That's Gene's nickname, but that's actually Mel's nickname for Grand Funk, just a thunderous bass.
And a hell of a player.
Yeah, and I'm one of the 3 new guys in this version, which is now 14 years running, and we have dates, coming up in 2015. I just realized how blessed I was. I was just talking to my wife about it last night. So.
Well, you've been known for filling the shoes in some other bands of guys who were maybe a little difficult to deal with. But if I was in a band with Bruce Kulick for, say, 10, 12 years, what's one of your quirks that's going to get on my nerves?
I tend to be a bit of a perfectionist. Okay. I want everything right. You know what
I
mean? Yeah. I could be a little rough that way. I also hate tardy people. Okay. That doesn't go over very well for me.
Well, so far you're on cue with me. I was listening to one of your solo CDs the other day, Transformer, and one of the things that struck me was how commercially accessible some of these songs were, and I was thinking, now were you hiding these things from other people? Why weren't these used in some of your other bands that were maybe putting out lesser product?
Well, to be honest, any project I've been involved with, if I can be involved with the songwriting, I will, pitch that stuff. I know when I worked with Michael Bolton, we co-wrote a lot of the material together. That was a band called Blackjack that we had. And then Billy Squier knew his own thing. So even though I played guitar on that Tale of the Tape album, which gets sampled a lot actually. It wasn't a position where I could suddenly be the lead player. I mean the writer with him.
Okay.
But Kiss, obviously, that whole opportunity was amazing, and Gene and Paul are always they both had a different kind of way of working with co-writers and styles. So it was always a guessing game. What do I throw at Gene? What do I throw at Paul? Knowing that every time if I got a bite, this is great for my career and my finances. You know what I mean? Because a song is wonderful on a record that back then it was pretty easy for us to have a gold record. And to be honest, my solo records. I had that band Union with John Corabi, and we wrote a lot of the material together, and I'm very proud of that stuff. But when it came to my solo stuff, some of it I actually dug into the closet first, because there are things there, and even Transformer, that if it wasn't something I freshly wrote, then, I had that riff around for a while, but it just didn't happen if I pitched it to somebody else, So, as a songwriter, and it's a very hard thing to describe, when you're inspired and when it happens, but you keep and you hold everything, and unfortunately, not always do the things that you have wind up somewhere until maybe you do it on your own. Right. So I'm proud of all the solo records, even though they all represent a little different time of this past decade.
As well, you should be. It's a weird environment or form of employment where some of your best work maybe is not as well noticed as some of your regular work, But
the great thing about putting something down on a CD and getting it out there, like the last one that I did in 2010, BK3, which has, I called it that because it was my third solo record. I had Gene on there, Doug Feiger from the Knack, and I got him before he passed away. A pretty famous singer from Germany, very famous guy, this guy Tobias Sammet, who's been involved with a lot of things that's bigger in Europe than here, but Steve Lukather plays some guitar in it. And what's interesting, vinyl's very popular now. So I in February, which will be the 5th anniversary, I'll have that record out as a vinyl thing, which I know for some fans, they may not even have a turntable at home, but they like to hold
Absolutely.
Vinyl.
It's a great piece of art.
Else. And I'm starting to write. I actually considered what I started to do this past month by looking at some of the material that I've had been compiling since then. and I've started to talk to some of the people that I want to reach out to. So I'm kind of working on the next one now.
Well, speaking of collaborations, your brother Bob, guitar virtuoso in his own right, also fairly active behind the scenes with Kiss. You got a chance to work with him when you two played together, touring behind Meatloaf in, what, 77, 78?
Yeah.
What was that like for a couple of brothers to be on the road
I know.
with this crazy rock and roll
I mean,
show?
he knew about them looking for guitarists, and nobody knew who the hell he was, And even when we got involved, we were like, "What the hell is this?" You know what I mean? Because it was like
Meatloaf.
Springsteen meets some Broadway horror thing.
Right.
It was a strange combination, but obviously that combination has continued to be successful.
Okay.
In fact, if you pick up Bat Out of Hell, which still sells, it still sells a lot every year. For the past more than 5 years. There's a couple of live tracks on there as bonus songs, and that's my brother and I from the concert from Nassau Coliseum. I'm on the left, my brother's on the right. We used to call ourselves Killer and Pretty Boy, is what Meatloaf was. I was obviously Pretty Boy. And
well, you were about 12.
Yeah, not that young, but it was. My brother definitely had the Ming the Merciless kind of look or whatever,
Right.
And I was more the poodle clip.
Well, you've been involved. I mean, obviously with Kiss and Meatloaf, you've been involved with rock and roll theatrics on stage and behind the stage. There must be a series of Spinal Tap moments. I mean, I remember seeing Kiss on the Revenge tour at UIC Pavilion, I think, when the pyro wasn't working.
Sure.
Fortunately, you guys were at a phase where the music was strong enough to carry the show, and it was nice. It was a great show. But there must have been other times where things went wrong.
Oh, the lights go out at the end of the set, and you're supposed to run to the side that you're supposed to go to, and how about the signals get crossed and I go slamming into Gene Simmons. That wasn't fun because the roadies didn't have the signal clear, and one time they left me out there to dry, like I would do this solo run around the stage and play, and I'm kind of done, my cue, and they decide, let's screw around here, and I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean. So I was so upset. Actually, I picked up Gene's bass. There's a photo of it that's viral. I've seen it online quite a few times, where I got so pissed I threw my guitar down and I picked up his bass and I started to play the bass on stage because I was making a statement or something.
Finally, BruceKulick has a temper tantrum.
Yeah, exactly. So
after what those guys have been through, I'm sure
of course.
Big deal.
So they thought it was kind of interesting. Gene was like really shocked that I did that.
Tell me about the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp thing.
Well, I've been involved with that since like 06 or something, or maybe even 05. The Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp is wonderful because what it is I've gotten to actually meet some very successful people who have some talent. Some of them are very talented. Some of them are just really novice on the instrument. But the idea is you get people like a Roger Daltrey, the headline, or there's one coming up in February that I'll do that Sammy Hagar is the headline, and I'm one of the counselors. So let's say yourself, you play a little bit of guitar. It doesn't really matter what level you're at, but we'll throw something together. And they get to find out what it is really to be in a band and have me as their boot camp leader.
Oh, cool.
I've screamed at some people, believe me. I'll kick an executive. It doesn't matter, And I'll always ask them, is this okay? Because I want you to be good,
Right.
And they're trying, but they don't
Right.
really understand that. And they're probably in a situation in their life, because it isn't cheap to go to the camp, that probably no one tells them what to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So usually they're very positive about, no, be hard on me. Make me do the right thing. Because I want to have fun when we play. I don't want to let anybody down. So that's like a really interesting thing. And I tell you, it's been it's very rewarding for me in many ways, And it's funny to see them, take, 5 strangers or more that never met each other suddenly become a band within the 3 or 4 days. It's fun.
Awesome.
And then, of course, the fact that they get to perform for some of these stars, and so it's really fun. Rockcamp.com, you can find out all about it. Paul has done it, Gina's done it.
Right.
Sometimes because of my Grand Funk schedule, it's hard for me to always fit them in, but when I can, I try to get involved because I do enjoy it.
That's cool. Well, I'm not going to keep you much longer because I know you're a busy man, but we are at a fan convention here.
Yes.
And the connections, the career you've had, you must have had some extreme fan experiences over the years. Anything weird or freaky? We love a good freak story. Anything come to mind?
To be honest, anyone that's asking for me to sign their body, that's still bizarre. And, there are many Kiss fans with Kiss tattoos,
Okay.
And the fact that they may have an image of me, that's freaky stuff for me, But I have to admit, though, the Kiss fans are usually very, very cool, and they're it's not a band that represents, like, drugs and
Right.
and complete, like, no respect for society.
Right.
It's more like, everybody, let's have a good time and be proud of yourself.
It's a joyous rock and
Yeah,
roll
yeah,
thing.
which I'm really happy. I fit that mode for sure. So I'm really grateful for the fans, and I haven't gotten anything too bizarre, so, but still, signing someone's body's crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, and Grand Funk Railroad still touring, always.
Yeah.
I've seen you guys a bunch of times, always putting on a great show. Also a very joyous rock and roll occasion. What else should we know that, what we
Well,
should
just, all things, the one amazing thing is that, whenever someone ever, has the balls to say, like, oh, what you been up to? I'm like, all right, you probably don't have a smartphone, you've never been on the internet. Because, I've been doing a lot post-Kiss, and I've been involved with things with them. They invited me to the Hall of Fame, even though, Eric and Tommy and myself weren't inducted, but I was there. I was part of the thing. So I always find it funny when they don't know what's going on. But through Kulick.net, my last name, just Google me, my site comes up. My Facebook's huge. I have, between Twitter and that, over 200,000 people that follow me. So, and I'm active that way, too. I want to share what I'm up to, and I want to kind of interact with them.
That's great.
So there's always stuff going on. Next year, BK3 and Vinyl, a band that my first group I was ever in when I was 20 years old. I did put out the music back in 2006. I only did a limited 1,000 CDs.
Okay.
So we found more music. We cut a new song, and it's called KKB for the initials of the three guys. So that's going to come out early next year, too, as the 40th anniversary thing, And then I'm working on new music myself, and besides the Grand Funk stuff. So I'm always doing something.
Constantly
Something's going on.
creating.
Absolutely.
And it seems like you've moved past a lot of the nonsense of the business. Where
Yeah.
It's just,
I mean, look, the business is upside down with, the way people think music's for free. I was so grateful that people were actually buying my CD here today. The cost of a photo or a CD, I'd rather sign the CD and have them go home with music that they can enjoy forever, as opposed to, all right, I'm flattered, if they want a photo and they're, going to do something with that frame or whatever. But God, music is just, I wake up and it's the first thing I do, the last thing I do before I go to bed. It's a big part of my life.
Well, it's your gift, and we appreciate you sharing it with us.
Thanks for having me.
BruceKulick.
Hi, this is Bruce Kulick, and you're watching Psycho Babble TV.